Sorry about that, babe.
This is a long play with commentary. This was not a challenge run. My goal was to simply beat the game. The video is segmented by successful missions. Unsuccessful missions were edited out due to time constraints. The toughest mission for me was definitely Mission 4 with Big Al. That took me around 2 hours real time. Surprisingly, the expert mode took me only a few hours, and I finished it during a standard play session. Enjoy the video and stay tuned for an unboxing and review. Alright guys, we're going to be playing Pilotwings here. You saw the disclaimer already, so I won't go over that again. Long play with commentary, edited up, and I'll leave it at that. This was my first time ever completing the game. And yeah, I had a blast doing so. I had played it quite seriously many years ago, probably about 15 years ago, with my friends Kevin and Ricardo. We got to the first helicopter mission, but that was the furthest we got, and boy was it a grind. I don't think we really knew much back then about like bonus points and stuff like that, but I could definitely say my skills improved slightly at the very least. But still a very difficult game. Lots of fails were edited out of this, so... first lesson, pretty easy. Basically just landing the plane. It's pretty much like an incremental jump up as far as like vehicles and, you know, the tasks that they want you to do. It's gonna be funny actually looking at my first few lessons here going on into the later ones when, you know, my skills were a little bit better. But yeah, in saying all that, there was definitely a bunch of events that I never really truly got good at. I had a very good hang gliding experience actually, I think towards the end of the game, but that was one that always gave me trouble. I got better at skydiving as we went along. I always felt like the airplane ones were relatively easy, but I could never get perfect scores on them, if that makes sense. But yeah, there you can see clearly, as long as we don't crash and burn here on skydiving, we'll be fine. I'm not going to read everything that the people are saying. It's not a Let's Play, so if you guys want to read that, feel free, but I wanted to, you know, leave it up on the screen for you guys to see it at least. Yeah, the one thing that was very surprising throughout this entire run was the expert mode ended up being way easier than I thought, and I see, unfortunately, my DaVinci Resolve is still doing the thing where it, like, artifacts on cut to black. Despite my tinkers, it looks like it's still there, so I apologize, guys, but there's actually nothing I could do about that unless I make my video files, like, 17 times the size that they are. So we'll just have to deal with it. But my apologies, I thought I fixed that thing. Anyway, with the skydiving, I never really got this either, unless the movements into the rings were fairly close. I always feel like the way the wind blows and everything like that, it's just all kind of random. I mean, it's not random, but it feels random. And I never really, like, understood what to do. But realistically, the most important part about skydiving is the landing. And also, if you go down quicker, I think you do well in the time. So the accuracy is not the be-all, end-all as far as going through the rings. Plus, like I'd mentioned earlier, if you land on like the moving targets, you get bonus rounds. So like, you could hypothetically completely miss every single ring, but if you land on the bonus thing, you can get a higher score anyway, so. I think we do that a couple times during this run, but I can't really recall at this point. There was definitely a section where I was consistently trying to get the bonus, and then eventually I just kind of dropped it. But the thing about the bonus is, if you're really good at the bonus rounds, you could actually, like, forego having to do an entire event. Like, let's say it's like a 3 or 4 event one, and you do really well in the first one, and then the second one you get a perfect score plus a really good bonus, you could actually not even have to do the last thing. I was never fortunate enough to get that to happen during my playthrough, but it is a possibility. So as you can see, lesson 2 here, we're adding in, I believe, the rocket pack, aka the jet pack, which is my favorite one. I feel like it's not only the easiest event, but it's the one that's always the most enjoyable for me. Because I feel like you have more control over it. But you can see we've now progressed with the plane where we're not just landing, we're doing some accuracy in landing. As I said, I always felt fairly confident in the plane events. I was just never perfect at them. I like to slow down a lot when I'm coming into my landing, but actually that was a pretty decent landing, all things considered. Later on though, in the events where there's more stuff to do, like expert mode and beyond, my landings aren't nearly as smooth as this. Because I'm going at a higher rate of speed, I remember like there's winds and like the things are slippery, the runways. So more skydiving. Kind of getting my bearings here. Like I said, it's tough. If you start moving the wrong way, man, like, look, we're nowhere near. Luckily we're able to... Oh, we just missed that, yeah. We missed every single one except the first one. Pretty embarrassing, but it is what it is. Like I said, that's not the most important thing, guys. Unless you're going for a perfect run, don't worry about it too much. The landings are always the most important things in these types of runs, like whether it be skydiving or hang gliding. And you can see my strategy, at least here in lesson 2, is kind of when I popped my parachute, I kind of go around, and that's like going back and forth and kind of going around is sort of how you play with landing. And then if you hold down on the D-pad, you slow down a lot. We're actually probably going to get a really good landing here. Oh yeah, perfect. Perfect. You're goddamn right, my skills are improving. Alright, so now we just need 40 points to qualify. And as I mentioned earlier, the rocket belt is pretty much the easiest one. So as long as you don't crash and burn, you should be fine. So pretty much with the rocket belt, I find that it's best to do a bit of like pulsing at times, especially when landing. You could switch your views with the L and R button, but I typically don't do that often. There's one event way later in the expert mode that I will do it, but it's not really like... I don't find it to be that helpful by any means. Obviously when you're doing this, you have to control your height a little bit and stuff. Later on, the accuracy wheels, or whatever the hell they'd be called, rings, sometimes they're moving and stuff like that, so it definitely does get a little bit more challenging. We're just gonna do... Oh, it might... Okay. I was gonna say, I thought we were gonna do a simple landing. But I guess we're flexing here. Almost had the 70. It is a little touchy with the landing. And as you can see, you could also bounce up and down if you're still kind of like touching the button. You pretty much have to commit to it. And there we go, we got a perfect score. And like I said, if you're having like a lot of trouble, if you land on the moving targets, you get a bonus round, which will allow you to get, you know, conservatively 10 extra bonus points, possibly 50, 60, 70. There's actually one bonus round that I got in the expert mode where it looked like as long as you kept mashing the button, you could like max out the score, but I didn't realize that, so I stopped touching the button. And we only got like 40 or 50 points or something, but... Anyways, moving on to lesson 3 here with Lance. I hate Lance because he introduces the hang glider. Although Big Al, lesson 4 is typically the hardest one in the game. So I like to start with what I deem to be the hardest. And I know that I don't do well with the hang glider, so like when the hang glider's there, I'm gonna start with the hang glider. Last thing you want to do is waste all your time on a run, like, you know, like doing the events that you're really good at, and then, you know, you get to the hang glider and you screw it up, basically. So, with the hang glider, a lot of it revolves around hitting these hot jet stream things. They propel you up in the air. Oftentimes, you have to reach a maximum altitude in order to advance in the event. Same thing here, there's usually a designated area to land, and then there's a moving target usually in these ones that give you a bonus round. The thing that's tricky about hang gliding is you are at the mercy, I guess, of the wind, and you don't have the ability to go up yourself, you know what I mean? Like, you could pulsate and, you know, do stuff like that and slow down, but ultimately I can't put myself up in the air anymore, so our goal here was just to land and not crash. Obviously we don't get much in the way of the, you know, the landing accuracy, if you will, but 60 points was more than enough to get it done here because, you know, obviously we're pretty good at the light plane. Usually we can get anywhere between, what, 80 to 90 points there, and then the rocket belt's usually a lot easier to max out, so. So lesson 3 with the plane, we are now taking off, doing accuracy and then landing, I believe. Thinking about the plane actually is reminding me about an expert event that's coming up later on in the run. I actually failed it, but I was still able to qualify. I remember I crashed my plane. I was going too fast and trying to go through an accuracy thing and was close to the ground. But anyway, for your speed points here, I highly recommend just going like as fast as you can. The winds aren't picking up too crazy yet at this point of the game, so you could pretty much control yourself fairly well, as long as you have a decent vantage point at where the next ring is going to be. Also, another reason why I recommend doing the quote-unquote harder ones first, I usually save the plane for last or second to last or something, and that's because I feel like in general they take longer, especially now when you're having to go out and then land, and they require a lot of concentration. Where some of the hang gliding events, you're literally just kind of floating around for half the time. You know what I mean? This, you're kind of like, you're in the pilot seat, literally. Yeah, it's funny. I was looking back here at like, what was it, lesson 2, where I had a really good landing. Seems like my plane landing skills got worse as the game went on. I feel like my speed and my accuracy and stuff got better, but as far as the landing goes, I end up having some rough landings later, but as long as you don't crash, it's all good. Alright, landing time. So I typically kind of descend somewhat slowly and I start decelerating. See, I definitely should have been a lot lower there. Because I was still kind of high up on the thing. We got pretty close to the end of the track, but luckily we didn't crash and we didn't roll off the track, so landing okay, as they say. 90 points, plenty good. And now we just need 70 for the rocket belt, which basically means, you know, don't crash. Pretty standard stuff. We gotta go hit the, in this instance, it's more of like a line and dots as opposed to a circle. Or a ring. And then we go back to the landing zone where we have 3 different areas that we could land at. We could land on a bigger one, a smaller one, or the moving one. And I'm pretty sure I'll end up taking a conservative approach and I'll land on the bigger one. But I can't recall. Probably should have reviewed my footage a little bit before doing the voiceover, but you know what? Time is of the essence, people, and we gotta keep pushing on. Alright, time to land. And it looks like I'm headed towards the conservative route, which is fine, because we just need 70 points, so. I will say landing on the moving target is not as easy as it, well, I mean, I guess it doesn't really look easy, because it's not. So yeah, we hit the conservative one there, and we got just enough, 10 points over, I believe, so. We now got our silver license, and now we're going to be headed towards Big Al for our final license before the helicopter. So this is going to be the final lesson section for I guess regular mode. I don't know what you'd call it. Beginner mode, something like that. There he is, Big Al. He's my favorite character. I think his sprite's funny, and the fact that his name is Big Al is hilarious. I had a beta fish many years ago, probably 12 years ago or something. Actually, was it longer than that? It's probably longer than that. Probably like 13 or 14 years ago. And his nickname was Big Al. Anyways, we're gonna start with hang gliding here. Or excuse me, not hang gliding. Skydiving. Oh, is this the easy one? One of the lessons, you don't have to like move at all for the rings. I think it was this one. This was definitely the hardest lesson of the entire game for me. That's including expert mode. And no, I was thinking of a different one. Must have been in expert mode. Yeah, there's one where like you skydive and you don't even have to move. You just have to go forward and back a bit and that's it. What? Yeah, I don't even know how many times I failed this, guys. I think it probably took me about 2.5 hours just to do lesson 4, like real time. So you saw we popped our parachute there a little earlier, and we're kind of going backwards, and then we're gonna make our way towards the landing area. I like to kind of make my way towards there around the 200-ish feet mark. Worked out perfectly, baby. Look at that. Look at that landing. What a beast. And I wish I can give more like insight to it. It's not luck, but as far as the strats go, it's like this is like a game where you have to just keep playing, because the more you play, you'll get the hang of it. It's like a feel game. I mean, yeah, of course there's general strats, like I said, with the planes. Like for time, you want to make sure you're going like 99. You know, when you're trying to land on the parachute, obviously you're going to be going left and right or making some turns. Like you're going to be going away from the landing like I did in the last one, but all in all, it comes down to feel. When you get a feel for something, you'll get it. So anyways, for this one, we're just kind of flying out far and high, and then we're kind of slowing down a little bit as we turn back, because we're going to have to hit an accuracy ring and then land, I believe. So we're going to be flying back out on the other side as well. You know, playing through this game and actually beating it, finally. Definitely making me interested in playing Pilotwings 64 possibly this year. Will that be my first N64 game I cover on the channel? I guess that remains to be seen, but who knows? Possibly. Alright, so now we just have to ensure that we have a smooth landing. I have a pretty low altitude here, slowing down our speed. This might... yeah, I was gonna say, this definitely could be a skip. My altitude was a little bit too low, I think, and I was going a little bit too quick. I think if my altitude was higher coming in, and I was a little bit slower, it would have been a much smoother landing. But hey, ultimately 86 points, not too bad, right? I'm surprised that I saved hang glider. You know what my strategy was here, guys? I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with the rocket belt. No, what? Okay. I thought maybe I was gonna do the rocket belt and try to get like a super high score and then come here, but I am surprised that I didn't start with the hang glider. But at this point, guys, it was lesson 4. I was probably like 20 failed runs deep. I just was losing my mind, so. But this one's actually, like, not too bad. To go through the accuracy ring, you don't really have to do much to start. Then we're gonna veer left and hit the jet stream. And then is this the one where we have to loop around, or are we allowed to land right away? Yeah, we have to go back through the ring. Oh, I remember this. Yeah. This was actually my sloppiest hang glider run. I usually am able to go through that ring immediately, but I actually had to go back and hit another jet stream because I was too low. That was the first time that happened to me. But thankfully, this was a successful lesson, clearly, if you're seeing it. Oh my god. Bro, do I have to hit another one? Wow, this was sloppy. So, yeah, usually when you do this, you're able to go through the rings the first time. I guess I must have had crappy wind RNG or something, and my angles must have not been perfect. Like I said, we were pretty deep into the runs at this point, so I was possibly losing my mind. But usually if you just kind of turn right away, yeah, you'll be there. You just have to control it a little bit. We're a little bit high there. And now we could land. Wow, that was rough. You're not going to get any time bonuses, that's for sure. So basically same strat as most of these types of things, where I kind of face the other direction a little bit, and then I kind of work my way over towards landing spot, which we flew over. I actually didn't get good at, I was gonna say I didn't get good at hang gliding until way later. So we're probably just trying to not die. So we pulse our stuff out there and we just land out of the area as always. I actually get good at hang gliding later on, I'm telling you, you'll see. We actually didn't get docked too much for time, surprisingly. Cool, so Rocket Belt just needs 68 points, guys. Pretty much, essentially, making good time, hitting your accuracy, and landing. That's pretty much it. Oh, you know what? It's funny, yeah, I remember now when I was grinding this, I was so bad at the hang glider that I was trying to get the bonus round on this round, and I did. I would get the bonus round like maybe 1 out of every 6 tries, but I think it's so funny, like we end up getting to the point where we get the successful run. The hang gliding was terrible, but we don't need to get the bonus round. Because I remember doing this level like a million times. Yeah. So it looks like I'm, probably just gonna go conservative because all we need to do is land now. But yeah, that's really funny because for like an hour straight I was like, I gotta get these bonus rounds or I'm not gonna be able to complete this lesson. But we end up being able to complete it without it, so. I kind of go back over here because I feel like it's a little bit more grounding mentally to kind of see this runway. And there you can see, it's hard to go perfectly straight because of the wind. But we're just gonna take our time, and like I said, at some point you do have to commit. So when we feel like the wind's not blowing us and we're kind of over, we're just gonna drop. I'll be here. Boop. There you go. And that is more than enough to graduate to the helicopter mission. There we got our gold license, which is the final license on the standard or beginner mode. And before we get into expert mode, we have to do a special mission revolving around a helicopter and rescuing people. Evil Syndicate. So for some reason, Big Al's taking a cop-out for political reasons, and he's making us do it even though we're not that good. So this is an interesting mode. The reason it's interesting is you could actually, like, well, I guess you could technically die as well if you made this a real game, right? Like if you crashed in the water or something, but you're trying to rescue people and you have people shooting at you in this mission. The way that you're supposed to do it is you're supposed to fly up high in the air and you're supposed to shoot your missiles and hit all these gunners and stuff and then rescue people. But I found a strategy after failing at this for an hour, that if you fly really low to the ground, and this applies to the last mission of the game as well, if you fly really low to the ground, you can avoid almost every single gunner. And as long as you take correct pathing, you'll get it done. So as you can see, I'm constantly hovering between like 74 and 85 for my speed, and we're trying to maintain a feat of anywhere between, honestly, like 3 up to like 20, because that's pretty low. If you follow your radar up top, that's where you'll find the area to land. But like I mentioned, keeping low to the ground like this allows you to basically avoid the gunners, and once you kind of learn the pathing, you could just get there completely unabated. I'm not perfect at the pathing, but obviously I do get it done, so you could pretty much use my pathing as a strategy guide if you want. But I believe we actually go too low here. You have to maintain the speeds to continue to raise your altitude. I think we land in the middle of the forest here. Yeah. So this actually happens on my final helicopter run as well. So in order to take off, you need to go really fast, but I would advise slowing down as quickly as possible. There you can see I was getting shot at. But look at that. We basically avoided the entire mission. You don't have to shoot a single gunner. The only reason that you're shooting them in the first place is to avoid them from shooting you. So if you don't want to do the strat that I just did, I would advise going really, really, really high up in the air. Constantly turning, because if you're turning, they have a much less chance of shooting you. If you're like static, you'll get shot down pretty quick. It's a tough mission to do it straight up. I recommend doing it the way that I do it. Just makes things easier. There we go, guys. We got our silver pilot wings. So in a way, we did beat the game already, but doing so unlocks expert mode. Which is like ultimately, you know, the true ending, so to speak, and you bet your butt we're gonna do it. And look at this cool screen, guys. I love the nighttime and the, you know, the lights and the skyline, all that kind of stuff. It's great. So expert mode is fairly similar to the first mode of the game, except the landscapes are different. There will be more wind, the one area has snow, the one area is at night. It's very aesthetically pleasing. And I found that expert mode was easy compared to the... I struggled more with like lesson 3 and lesson 4 in the first mode than I did here. But as you can see, lesson 5 is in the snow, which is pretty cool. One of these lessons I got on the first try. I think it was lesson 7, which was very surprising to me. And I think this was the mythical, where you don't really have to move much. Yeah, I remember this one. This one was fun, actually. Oh, you don't have to move at all, I think, actually, if I remember correctly. Yeah. You go through all the rings without moving. That's what I like to see. Oh, I remember this now. Okay, so we're gonna try to land on the moving target, I think. And the game did me a solid, guys, because I don't think I landed on it. So we're gonna pop our parachute a little bit below 400. And we're just gonna make our way towards. And I'm feeling pretty good about it, but the closer I get, I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna fall into the water. But watch what happens. The game counts that, dude. What? So we actually get the bonus round. And this one's actually my favorite. You're just a penguin jumping into a pool. I would advise not being a hero and just going for the pool itself. So obviously the perfect score and the 20-point bonus makes things a lot easier. We just need 20 points for the plane, which essentially means if we land the plane, we're good. I just want to also point out, this was played on real hardware, by the way. So, you know, the artifacting that you see once in a while, again, is just from DaVinci Resolve. There's basically nothing I could do unless like I said, if I make the video files like 100 gigabytes, I could probably get rid of it, but it's like a compression thing. I was reading up about it a while ago, but anyway. I think the runway is slick here, which is like pretty much the dynamic, but as I said, we had 20 points to go. As long as we didn't crash, which we didn't, we are good to advance to the next lesson. Yeah, I recently got the Retrotink 5X Pro, so I'm trying to run pretty much everything off of real hardware. This is on a RGB modded SNES Mini Model 2 with RGB Scart. Looks great. You can like barely tell the difference between this and the analog at this point. I mean, granted, you know, to get all that stuff done, it's cheaper to get an analog. But I wanted to move all my analog systems upstairs and play real hardware down here for the channel. Feels more authentic, you know, being snobby. But first lesson in the books. That one didn't take too long. I want to say that took probably 10 tries because I was trying to nail the bonus round for the skydiving, and that did take a little while, but you can see things kind of repeating themselves here. Just pretty much different terrains, realistically. So we'll try to hit the rings. Obviously, as I said, once you start moving, things get a little bit more difficult. The more stationary that you are, and the more stationary that the rings are, the easier it gets, clearly. You can see I made one wrong path movement and I missed like everything, so... At least we hit a couple rings, right? Do I land here? I don't remember this one. So let's see what I do. Clearly we pop our thing probably a little too early there, for being honest, which now I'm gonna have to do more shenanigans like this. Probably just, yeah, you know what, we probably just land on one of those three. We just go straight into it. The odds are in your favor as long as you line it up. And you could always pull back if you need to slow down. Oh yeah, that's right, I remember. Let's go. Your boy. Pilotwings Master over here, okay? Look at that. We don't want to talk about the ring accuracy, okay? We'll leave that, you know, to the side. Alright, rocket belt, so we could put ourselves in a spot where pretty much all we have to do is land the plane once again. This is one where some people might want to switch the views, but I'm pretty good at telling without doing that, so... Again, L and R switch the views from where we are right now to overhead. I'm telling you, if somebody made like a Pilotwings hack of nothing but the jetpack levels, I'd be all in. Make an entire game based off of the jetpack. What would also be pretty cool too, I haven't played any of the newer Pilotwings, like N64 or the 3DS, but... Like, let's say on the hang glider missions, if they brought those back, like, what if we had like a rocket boost? Like, where you needed a little bit of a boost. Be pretty sick. Like a one-time use thing. But yeah, looks like we're gonna land on the 70 once again. Because, like, that's what we do now, apparently. Let's go. Nice! And as I mentioned, we put ourselves in a position where as long as we don't crash the plane, we are a-okay. Look at that, perfect score. I saw people talking online that they're, when they were kids, they were scared by the instructors doing the perfect score faces. So the mission, the goal, the strat here, guys, is to, obviously, you know, we'll try to get good speed and, you know, we gotta set a good precedent, right? We can't just, like, slop our way through it, but ultimately the most important thing, guys, is landing the plane and not crashing. So, as you can see, we're getting a lot lower now with our accuracy, which does make it pretty tricky, and we actually do end up crashing, I think, on Lesson 8 because of that. The wind is whipping, if you couldn't tell. This lesson is all about wind. And we skip. Oh, I remember this. I was like, no, stop. I thought we were gonna roll off the track. But luckily, we're able to get it together and get another certification. Not the best. I never am at the airplanes, but... good enough to get expert class license B, baby. So yeah, this next lesson coming up, lesson 7, I actually got it done on my first attempt. So the run that you see coming up was my first try at the lesson. So I was very, very pleased with that. And once I nailed that, I was like, oh crap, I might be able to beat this game in one session, which ultimately I did. Because lesson 8 and the final helicopter mission didn't take too long either. Yeah, I was very proud of myself with this. It might not be the cleanest run, but the fact that I got it done in the first try, you know, made me feel real good. Look how beautiful. Look at that. This is probably, well, yeah, this is aesthetically probably my favorite lesson of the game. Lesson 8's pretty cool looking too, but I like the sunset. It's funny, they hype up lesson 8 as being like, it's so dark you can't see, use your radar, but like, you could still see everything. Now, if lesson 8 was truly like, they gave you like a little light sphere around you and you couldn't see, that would be horrible. So we're just hitting the jet streams in order to hit the designated altitudes. And now we gotta land. Really not much to say here as far as the strat goes. Same old crap, guys. You know, you gotta make sure that you're going in the right direction eventually, but first you kind of gotta do some loop-de-loops, and if you feel like you ever need another jet stream, there are obviously ways for you to go back up in the air, but and here we are. I started going a lot faster because I realized that you could slow down considerably, the way I just did. So I learned that it's better to kind of push the issue and then slow down later, as opposed to, I don't know, going too far over the water or something, you know what I mean? Like, it's easier just to kind of push the issue, go super fast, and then slow. Again, first try on the hang glider, I'm tickled pink at that point. So I feel like I put myself in a pretty good spot once again, where, you know, we're fairly confident in the rocket belt sections. So as long as we do a decent speed, decent ring accuracy, and land the plane, we're feeling good about ourselves. This is another one, if I remember correctly, where the wind is definitely a factor. You could probably tell, you know, the plane's a little bit shakier than usual. Like, we look like we're going on a designated path, and then all of a sudden we're a little bit too far to the left or the right, so we need to kind of go back. It's tricky, for sure. I even slowed my speed down slightly because of that, but just keep your head about you, and you'll be fine. We probably have a horrible landing once again, if we're being honest. Probably another giant skip. We almost missed that one. The turning and the wind there kind of got me. I will say though that the planes are probably my second favorite events overall, just because I feel like you have more control. I like landing on skydiving, but I hate the ring accuracy sections. I think they're terrible. The planes, I'm not great at them, but I feel like you have a lot of control over the plane, and I feel like that they're rather engaging. So yeah, I would go rocket belt or jetpack, whatever the hell it's called, the planes, the skydiving, and then the hang gliding. And then honestly, the helicopter's probably like tied with the hang glider. I don't like the helicopter either. All right, we are almost ready to land. So we're gonna slow down, bring our altitude down a little bit. We're not quite center. Oh wow, we didn't bounce, that's awesome. Can't complain, guys, can't complain. But yeah, wasn't the best run. We didn't even hit 70, but oh well. What are you gonna do? We did put ourselves in a little bit of a pickle here. We pretty much force ourselves to have to land on the 70, wherever that may be. Can't go super conservative here because of our scoring. But, you know, I'm pretty confident in my skills in this event, so it's not that big of a deal for me. But you can see the tricky part here is that they put these things close to the water. And I think you lose points for touching the ground as well, if I remember correctly. So you gotta be careful. Don't want to drown, don't want to lose points. Do I hit the ground over here, or is that in lesson 8? I hit the ground. Oh, actually, you know what? It might have been lesson 8 in one of my field attempts now I'm thinking about it. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to remember sometimes, guys, because there were so many runs on certain lessons. Must have been, like I said, lesson 8. Because this was a first try, baby. Alright, now let's go land and get our certification. Oh, and there you saw what I mentioned earlier. That if you're touchy with the button, man, even though you landed, the game won't stop you right away. There's like an extra split second after you land that you have to not touch anything. That was a perfect landing too. That one wasn't as good, but should be good enough. Uh-huh. Yeah, I think we would have got a 70 out of 70 with the accuracy if we landed the first one, but hey, all in all, guys, we got the Silver Expert license, and now we're going to be moving on to the final lesson of the game with Big Al. Which, I definitely didn't finish on my first try, guys, but it didn't take as long as I thought it would either. So that was always good. This is basically the final lesson of the game, because like I said, the final thing of the game is another helicopter mission. And this one's at night, baby. Love the aesthetic here. Reminds me of the first Turtles game on NES. I can't remember what the area was, but the music goes doom 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 doom. If you know, you know. But yeah, it reminds me of that aesthetically. I also like the green too. Looks really cool. So yeah, as far as strats go, guys, I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you at this point. They add in some wrinkles here and there, but all in all, the events are basically the same. So just do what they tell you to do and stick your landings, guys, and you'll be fine. I promise. Look at that beautiful night sky. Luckily, we're able to go through the ring here. Still can't believe how bad that one run was with the hang glider, where I had to hit like the multiple jet streams. And like I said, my strat of... Oh, I remember that one, yeah. Again, I still think the best strat, especially for people that aren't great, just go in with a lot of speed, man. Oh, that's right, I got the bonus chance. That wasn't even where I was supposed to land. So this is the one that I was talking about. Apparently if you just mash the A button, you keep flying. But like, you'll see why I screwed up. So when you start flying here, it looks like the horizon stops, right? So I stopped like tapping because I'm like, oh, I probably have to like land soon. And then I quickly realized, oh crap, like no, that is not the case at all. But I was too low at that point, so So yeah, guys, on that one, don't buy into the graphics, just keep mashing the button if you're lucky enough to get it, and those 35 bonus points will probably go a very long way, but I could have probably got 50, 60, 70 there easily. But 185 between 3 events, not bad. Oh, looks like yeah, I might save skydiving for last, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I was so close to the end of the game at this point, I started doing like weird strats. But I probably figured like, oh my god, I remember now. Yeah. So this run fails. My idea was, oh, if I can get, you know, 65 to 75 points on this, and then I could try to get a perfect score on the rocket belt, then we don't have to do the skydiving. That was my strategy. Oh my god, I remember that now. But you'll quickly see that my strategy of being able to avoid skydiving, didn't work out as intended. So I feel like we're doing good here. I feel totally in control. We're good. And now we just gotta turn around and hit the other accuracy thing. In retrospect, I probably should have slowed down to turn. I think ultimately that's what's gonna do me in here. I slowed down now, but I was talking about it earlier. But yeah, we crashed. Not good, guys. So, yeah, luckily we did hit the arches, so we did get 40 points. But now we've obviously put ourselves in a spot where we're gonna have to skydive. But we're gonna try to get as many points as we can here with the rocket belt. And like I said, I felt like as the game went on, my skydiving abilities got better, so. This is one of the instances where you might want to use the L and R button. It's kind of tough to see from this angle. You see what I'm saying? Not quite intuitive. Like I thought, oh, I must have hit it there, but ultimately you can do it without switching the views, so it's not the end of the world. This one's a little bit lower. Oh, don't touch. There we go. Then we gotta hit the last one and stick the landing. Like I said, guys, this event is my favorite. I feel like it's fairly standard all the way across, and I just find it to be most fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy its shtick. Oh yeah, I have a little trouble with this one. So as you can see now, I switched the view. You gotta watch your altitude here though in this view, because you can't really tell how far up you are unless you look at the number. But I will say that that view there definitely helped me. Alright, so now we just gotta land. I think I take the conservative route here and I don't try to go for the moving platform. If I were to hit the moving platform, it was possible that I could have got a great score in the bonus round, but we're gonna trust our skydiving skills, which have been improving as the game went on, so. And there you could see me doing my little jittering, so to speak, actually helped because it allowed me to get closer. Because I was pretty close to falling off the edge there. Alright, for all the marbles, guys, we need 61 points with skydiving. So what does that mean, essentially? That pretty much means we have to land on the spot. Despite our time, despite hitting the rings, that's not going to do it. We have to get good accuracy on our landing. And I could see myself taking some extra time here. Probably because I knew what was at hand. It's like, it all comes down to this. If I get the good accuracy, we pass. If I don't, then we got to do it all over again. Surprisingly, I wasn't too far deep into my attempts, though. So I wasn't hanging at this point, but... So yeah, at some point, I kind of am like, alright, screw it, I just need to do my landing, so I just stopped caring. I do what's best for the landing, guys. So I pop around 600, pretty far away, and we're gonna try I think I was trying to do the strat where I kind of go on that runway strip, excuse me. But yeah, that didn't work. So now we're just kind of doing the old floaty. Moving around, kind of. I realize at this point, oh, I can't tell. Am I going to be too good? And I'm like, wait a minute, we're good. Oh yeah. Like I said, guys, I got pretty good at the skydiving towards the end. Aside from the accuracy portion in the rings. That's all we needed, baby. Big Al is very pleased. So we got our gold expert license, which means we have essentially beat the game, and we are on to the final mode, which is a repeat of the helicopter mission, except I think the landscape is clearly different, and it's also at nighttime. As far as strats go for this, guys, it's the same thing. I advise that you stay very low to the ground and find the pathing through trial and error. And when you figure it out, you're good to go. If you do it normally, it's going to take you a while. I will say this, though. We had a very close call at the end of this, which you will see. I don't want to spoil it. The pathing on this one was definitely more difficult than the first one. I feel like there's less of yourself in harm's way when you're near the extraction point on the first one, where this one is like surrounded by gunners. So even if you do the low to the ground strat, if you don't take the right path here, you can still get shot out of the air very easily. So yeah, trying to keep our altitude between, you know, somewhere between single digits and 20 at the most. So we're gonna hover our speed between the mid 70s and mid 80s, and we're gonna toggle as needed. Obviously speed up to get your altitude up, speed down to get it down. You could kind of find a sweet spot at some point where it stays either very slow moving or not moving at all. Went in a little bit, and then at about the 30-second mark, I kind of start turning towards the marker on the radar. And for the record, I believe this was roughly, I don't know, attempt 14 or something, we'll say. And here's where things get a little tricky. If you start making the wrong moves here, you're gonna get gunned down. So we are trying to stay as low as possible because there are so many gunners around, and I don't know the layout that well. There you can see me lowering my altitude considerably. We're getting close, but we don't quite know where it is. We're getting shot at. Thankfully, I didn't get hit. Oh, we got shot at again. And we're here, and I'm like, oh my god, no. Because now you have to take off again. But I'm thankful that when I take off and slow down, they don't shoot at me. Oh, I was so thankful. You see how many gunners there are around here, dude. It's tough. I probably should have got shot out of the air there, but I didn't. And that's it, guys. That's Pilotwings. Normal mode, expert mode, everything's beaten. So I hope you guys enjoyed the playthrough. If you did, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And stay tuned for some more Pilotwings content upcoming with an unboxing and a review. I'm going to mute myself and enjoy the ending.